To understand deep-rooted emotional causes of panic attacks can be extremely powerful because awareness of a problem is a problem half solved. And today I'm going to share with you insights with you behind panic attacks. Hi, my name is Evette Rose, author and founder of Metaphysical Anatomy, which is a book of 679 medical ailments and also the hidden emotional messages behind them. And also we share those messages universally. And also welcome to today's topic where I will be discussing hidden subconscious emotions of a panic attack. Now, even if you've never had one, then I am sure that you know someone who is challenged with this. So this topic will either way be very beneficial. And I also want to just quickly talk about what a panic attack is firstly. Now, this condition starts with symptoms such as, say, challenges with breathing, chest pains, isolating yourself. Phobia disorders can also start to form. And then you also have the agoraphobia, which is also much worse than the average phobias that we have, right? The symptoms are much worse. So this disorder could, for example, make you start to feel even nauseous and dizzy, like you also have like these sweat outbreaks. Now, a panic attack is also normally caused by past traumatic events that you've had, that you emotionally and psychologically never overcame and are also healed from. Now, the stress and the memory of a traumatic event is still being triggered in your subconscious mind and also your emotional body. Now, what can also trigger these old painful memories, right? It begs that question. Now, it can be anything from your environment. It can be sounds, it can be a smell, it can be certain interactions with people that can trigger old wounds from your past. Now, what makes this condition even more stressful is that you can feel a panic attack coming on. However, you have no conscious awareness as to why, and also the reason for that can be a deep implicit memory that has been triggered, meaning a memory that you don't consciously have awareness of or conscious access to. However, your subconscious memory and your emotional body remembers and it knows. So what's happening is that a deep root cause memory is now triggered and your body biochemically actually reacts now as if though it's reliving the old implicit memory. So now what's happening is your emotional body is preparing itself against the present moment that actually happened in the past, right? So it's preparing itself for something that could happen, thinking that the old memory now is being relived. It's happening again. So you might feel the need to defend yourself or to protect yourself from something or a threat, but you can't consciously access anything. You can't necessarily have conscious awareness in that present moment from who or what, right? So now in some cases, you might actually also have conscious awareness of your panic attack and what it relates to, right? It doesn't always necessarily mean that you're not aware of it. For example, right? So for example, you have to deliver a speech in front of people. And let's say you have a fear of public speaking because perhaps in the past you were verbally or perhaps even physically punished or attacked or rejected when you expressed yourself in front of a group of people or in front of an influential person. And now there's a deep fear of being rejected again because of the consequences that you bear from the past experience. Now, this is just an example though, just for the sake of this explanation. Now, doctors have also found that a panic attack can be triggered because of a nerve cell malfunction in the brainstem. So when you look at the hidden emotions and the psychosomatic root causes of this, you're also now looking at a great deal of unresolved communication trauma because that is also always what nerves relate to. It's our ability and our capacity to safely and easily communicate ourselves. Now, just so that you also know a little bit more about this condition from a different perspective, right? So let's move on now to the emotional body and also the hidden messages and the stress that has been held there and the meaning behind that. Because when you look at this condition, such as this one now, for example, and the causes of it, it can almost tell you exactly, right, exactly what is going on in this person's life. And the most amazing part is that in most cases, these emotional messages that are stored in specific parts of the body is universal, because our blueprint is the same, right? Storing emotions in similar places, and also the intensity of it that is being held and built on over generation after generation. Hence my reason and also the passion why I wrote Metaphysical Anatomy Volume 1. So let's revisit the symptoms, right? Let's have a look at this here again, because they hold a very important emotional message. Now, one of the symptoms are difficulty breathing. So that begs the question, by whom or what do or did you feel suffocated by? Now, something or someone in your environment triggered feelings such as, for example, say, feeling trapped, right? Feeling emotionally suffocated, and even emotionally or intellectually powerless. Now, we also have chest pains, right? So which in this case would translate to feeling that your privacy and your personal space is or was greatly challenged. And there's a deep need for calmness and peace. And your emotional body is also very sensitive perhaps to aggressive people, right? Or even just interacting with them can cause you to feel emotionally under attack, or in some cases unsupported, which causes emotional stress now to start to give rise to chest pains. Now, chest pains can also relate to very deep unresolved grief, right? Because we tend to feel emotional pain in the heart area as we store, here's the cool part, we store many emotional memories in the heart center, which also has neurotransmitters, right? So exactly the same way as the brain would, the heart can store memories as well. Did you know that? Right? So here's for example, I just want to share this really wonderful example with you. If you give a piece of tissue from the heart to a brain surgeon and they put it under a microscope, they will think that it's a part of the brain. Right? So it just shows you the capacity that our hearts have and how we've kind of overlooked this beautiful source and aspect of it in our biological makeup, but also how it plays a role with our emotions. Because now here, strong emotional memories, for example, associated with feeling under attack or emotional loss, can be triggered, and it's also normally held here in the heart area. The heart tends to hold on, along with the limbic system, the hippocampus and the brain, holds very sentimental memories, and not just positive, but it can also be negative, meaning times that were extremely memorable. So it can also be very traumatic times. So moving on to more symptoms that we have, because I can talk about that forever. So there's also another symptom here that we have, and that is isolating yourself, right? Isolation. So you might also feel a very deep need to isolate yourself because of the fear of having a panic attack in public or in front of people. Now, isolation, here's another spin on it. Isolation is also a form of setting a boundary, right? Meaning, instead of feeling challenged with potentially having, to express boundaries or set boundaries, instead, you physically act and behave in a way to project the boundary, and that is through isolating yourself, right? That is now your way of setting a boundary. So avoidance now has become your new way of expressing boundaries. But even that in itself, listen, even that in itself is a boundary failure, right? Because there's now an emotional price that comes with isolating yourself, and that's loneliness. Now, another symptom is the phobias that I mentioned earlier. Now, this can start in the form, for example, when it happens when you have the panic attack and you feel that coming up. Now, here in this case, for example, when you most likely had a panic attack in public, let's use that as an example. Apart from the emotional distress that is caused by the panic attack, you experience additional stress because of the anxiety and the fear of losing control in public. So, now perhaps in the past, now you did have a panic attack in public. Let's say that happened. And there could have been now people or objects or sounds or smells that you associated with the strong emotions that you felt in the moment of the panic attack. So now right? So now in hindsight, what is actually happening is that you're actually now avoiding people, certain smells or sounds or circumstances that could potentially remind you of these unpleasant, strong emotions. So now, apart from the symptoms here, is that there is another deeper interpretation behind understanding panic attacks. And here you also now have a strong fight instinct that wants to be expressed. But it wants to be expressed with the underlying intention to set boundaries. So here, coming back to boundaries, but from a completely different perspective, right? So these boundaries can also be emotional or physical boundaries that you want to establish. And this underlying stress now is deeply rooted in a wounded part of your past, where you were perhaps not able to express boundaries, right? So when you needed to, especially when you deeply needed to, I'm not talking about just a small little boundary of keep quiet, you're too loud. A real strong boundary of stay away, or no, don't do this, don't do that, stay out of my house, for example. Now, as with most boundaries, right, you fear the consequences of expressing it. And when you feel the slow buildup of a panic attack coming on, then I would highly recommend my video, Effective Ways to Stop a Panic Attack Immediately. And you can also just now, for example, in this case, imagine a light where you feel the panic, right? Give it a color so that the color represents the panic. Because this now it helps you to give you a visual reference of the panic. And then let the color representing the panic, let it just grow as big as it needs to, right? Let it grow and grow until it bursts open, just out into the air, releasing the tension that has been building up in that part of your body. Now, another really good tip for you here is, for example, now if you have the opportunity, is to stand up, right? Stand up and just start to jump. Jump up and down. Shake your arms, shake your legs, shake your body. Just jump and shake your arms and your legs as hard as you can without hurting yourself, but really shake as much as you can, including the middle part of your body as well. Do like a fun, funky belly dance, or just jump until you start to get tired. And when you do, what actually happens is that your nervous system discharges the built-up stress that it has been holding on. So that nervous energy gets released, because that nervous energy greatly contributes to the onset of a panic attack, because it wants to be released. So once you sit down again, hello calmness. You will start to feel calmer and more at peace. Now, if you get panic attacks because of social circumstances, then I would recommend that you go through my talk about social anxiety and panic. Now, I would also highly recommend that you sign up for my premium membership site, because there I will be sharing tons of online healing courses, also covering all types of anxiety and anxiety attacks, and also healing sessions to help you to release these stress and stress factors once and for all. Now, lastly, also to help you to find the underlying causes and the emotions behind your panic attacks, right? Bring your awareness to where in your body you feel the panic. Pretend that this part, right? Pretend that this part of your emotional body had a voice. What would it say, right? Take note of this message, because it will give you very, very important clues as to what kind of subconscious memories are being triggered. And then, of course, also the emotional stress and the messages held in your emotional body. And of course, you can go through my easing symptoms of anxiety healing meditation on my YouTube channel at evettevideos.com. And you can, of course, always also go through my online healing guided session for free, guidedhealingsession.com. So guys, that is what I have for you today. And stay tuned, because I will be sharing so many more wonderful videos. And until next time, be the light that you are.
Hi guys, thank you for joining me, and remember to grab your copy of Metaphysical Anatomy on Amazon, 679 medical ailments. And I also wrote about the psychosomatic root causes of that, and I'm spoiling you because I even added key points for you to start looking at important questions that you can ask yourself to start improving your quality of life. And also remember to catch me on Instagram, Evette Rose, 1 with the digit 1, and Metaphysical Anatomy on our Facebook fan page. Bye guys!